Welcome to the Clear to Send podcast, a podcast about wireless engineering, where we educate you on Wi-Fi technology, talk about design tips, troubleshooting, interviews, and the tools. Here are your hosts, Roel and Francois.
Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Clear to Send podcast. This is Francois, your host, and I'm here with Roel this morning. How are you, Roel?
Hello, good morning. Great to be here. I'm actually on the East Coast.
Hey, same time zone as me.
It works
Perfect.
out.
Works out. And we're actually recording in an unusual time for us.
It is. We're usually the early risers, or I'm the early riser.
Yeah.
This time I got to sleep in, and I don't know, I feel more energized this time.
Yeah, well, it's still the morning. I woke up pretty early this morning, so I got to do a whole bunch of stuff already, which feels good. So anyway, in this episode, we're going to talk about 82.11ax APs from Cisco. We got access to a couple of data sheets from their upcoming access points, 82.11ax access points. We also want to talk about Cisco Live. They released their sessions last week, so we wanted to go over some of the interesting Wi-Fi related sessions for you guys.
Yeah, and we're both gonna be there. So it's gonna be like last year. We'll probably have something at the podcast domain, and I don't know, maybe we'll hand out more stickers this time around, and we'll see what happens.
Try to do some recordings. If you hear our voice in the hallway and it sounds familiar to you, you can come and say hi. Happens to us last year. It was funny.
Yeah, that was cool.
Anyway, so this week in wireless, we have a couple of items for you guys. Jim Vajda shared something on Twitter this week related to 82.11be. So AX is not even ratified that they're already starting to work on the next generation of Wi-Fi, which will be the 82.11be amendment. And so this year, the scope of the project and the goal for the next version of Wi-Fi, and it's pretty much like an enhancement of AX. They called it
EHT.
EHT, yeah. So AX is HT for high efficiency, and then they're calling this guy the new version of Wi-Fi EHT.
Yeah, it's the extreme high throughput. Is that what they're going for this time? I believe so.
Yeah. So
extremely high throughput.
Extremely high throughput. Yeah. So they're running low on superlatives. But it's interesting, and they're saying that this amendment defines standardized modification to both 82.11 physical and PHY layers and MAC layers. So which is typically what they do when they come out with the new version of Wi-Fi. And the focus here will be WLAN indoor and outdoor operation with stationary and pedestrian speeds in the 2.45 and 6 gig frequency bands.
Yeah, so that's great that they're already talking about 6 gigahertz here in this amendment, because that's where I think it's really going to pay off.
Yeah, 6 gig is already in the plans, I guess, from the IEEE standpoint. They told us, I think a couple months ago, that 6 gig would be reserved for AX use, and I guess BE when it comes out. Some of the main feature that made people talk on Twitter this week was the support of 320 megahertz wide channel. And they're saying it's more for more efficiency utilization of non-continuous spectrum. So maybe not 320 megahertz of continuous spectrum, but maybe split in different channels, I guess.
And it may be continuous in 6 gigahertz, so that's most likely why it's there.
Yeah, to me it sounds a little crazy right now because we are used to having a limited spectrum. We're used to our 20, 40 megahertz wide channels.
Yeah, I've never even deployed a 160 megahertz wide channel, so I don't even know what that's like.
Yeah, me neither. But as we have more and more spectrum available to us, maybe this will change a little bit the way we design Wi-Fi, and now that we're gonna have
for
those
sure.
resource units, which will pretty much be smaller, channels within our big channel. Maybe we're not gonna have this noise issue as much as we do with AC. When we increase the channel width. So I'm not too sure what to think about this yet. I guess we'll have to see when 6 gigs comes around and the additional spectrum becomes available.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they're pushing the limits once again with the spatial streams, 16 spatial streams and MIMO protocol enhancement. I would be curious to know what the MIMO protocol enhancements will be. Will it be multi-user or will it just be MIMO? I don't see 16 spatial streams. I'm not sure if I see the use case here.
Yeah, I think we would have to see some innovations in hardware, I think, to even take advantage of that. And we'd still need better power with our devices as well, better power efficiency. Because that 16 spatial streams, that's going to be a really big mobile phone.
Yeah, it's what I see. Maybe they're just anticipating the AP to support that, and then have multi-user MIMO, and then being able to talk on different streams to different clients. But even there, multi-user MIMO, it's not really been efficient for now. So I guess we'll see how AX will embrace multi-user MIMO in both direction, downlink, uplink, and we'll see if that could be a potential enhancement to AX.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, we don't really see MU-MIMO right now, but maybe we will see it in this amendment.
Yeah, with the AX probably maybe in wave 2. I know they're focusing on OFDMA for the first wave of access points products, but we might be able to see both multi-user MIMO and OFDMA in a second wave maybe. I'm not sure, but anyway, the standards defined it right as multi-user, as we talked about in previous episodes. So it means it's possible. So we'll see how it goes in the implementation. Another feature that they're talking about is multi-access point coordination, which sounds good. I don't really know what it is, but coordinated and joint transmissions.
I think that's where they're trying to go with the added efficiency of the spectrum by having the APs coordinate their transmissions as well. And that's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, there's not a lot of detail to this because it's not even approved yet, but this is kind of what they're aiming for.
Yeah. So anyway, the PAR is out there. It's available. We'll put the link in the show notes if you want to click on the Twitter as well, the tweet from Jim, and then you can see what people think about it. You can download the PAR and read it. It's public information.
All right. So the next up on the news is Cisco actually put out data sheets to their new AP line, their Catalyst 9100 access points. Yes, they decided to call them Catalyst, which may confuse you with their switching Catalyst line.
Well,
but
yeah,
they're iOS APs, so I think that's why they're going with Catalyst. It kind of makes sense. It will add some confusion. You just got to remember which ones are APs, which ones are switches. But the two new APs that are published out there with data sheets. Francois, what do you think about them?
Well, so first of all, you're talking about the Catalyst. It clearly, we can clearly see that Cisco is moving toward the, Catalyst platform with the new controller 9800. Now they have APs that will be running, I guess, the iOS code and not the AirOS. So for us out there in the field, that's going to be important, right?
Yeah, because you can. I'm assuming you can't put this on your traditional controller because it's a Catalyst AP.
I'm not sure about that. Maybe they plan for
maybe
something.
They'll have some tie, but
yeah,
that's my guess to try to get people to go towards the new controllers. If you're going to want these Catalyst APs, then you're going to have to install these or deploy these new controllers, all iOS based. I think one of the first things that I noticed is these APs look different from the previous APs. I actually like the look of them. It's very simple.
Yeah, the design of it looks nice. It's very simple, minimalist. You just have a Cisco logo, and then you have a LED, and then you have a bezel around the AP. So it looks pretty good. That's the first Wi-Fi 6 APs, right?
Yeah, and it looks lighter too. Let me see here. The data sheet calls the 9115ax AP is 2.43 pounds, or if you're not in the US, 1.1 kilogram.
Yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
I'd like to compare that to, say, the 3800, which weighs in at 4.6 pounds.
That's twice the weight, yeah.
Yeah, so a big improvement there with APs, how they're able to fit all the hardware antennas into this AP and give it a new look.
So from what I understood, it's not the higher end APs. It's going to be the equivalent to the 1800 series.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have two models, the 9115 and the 9117. For the 9115, they both have interior, or the I and the E model. So the I model with embedded antenna, and then the E models where you'll be able to connect external antennas. Mm-hmm. And what I found interesting is that they don't have the same specs when it comes to 802.11ax.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a typo or that truly is a difference between the two. Why don't you describe what you've seen, Francois?
Yeah, so I was just looking at the data sheet this weekend, and I actually shared it on Twitter. But if you look at the 9117 and you look at the AX specs, you can see that they'll be supporting 8x8 MIMO. So that's what they're advertising on the front page, right? This one will be 8x8 MIMO. On the 5 gig only, on the 2.4 would be 4x4. And then they have downlink OFDMA. So in this one, they have downlink only. So if you go on Twitter and you read the message, apparently it's the uplink will be available later on with the new release of the iOS software.
Okay.
And then they have, TWT, which we didn't talk about yet in the podcast, but we'll probably do a deep dive.
They're going to be supporting target wake time, which I think is good because that's going to help with battery for mobile devices.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're talking about the different data rates and so on. As usual, you have the crazy data rates of 5 gig. Don't ask me how they came up with that. And so that's what I found interesting with the downlink OFDMA. So no uplink OFDMA yet. But if you look at the other model, the 1915, and you look at the AX specs, it's a little bit different now. You see uplink and downlink OFDMA, and it's a 4x4 multi-user MIMO. And then you also have BSS coloring this time around. So the 1915 doesn't support 8 streams. It's a 4-stream device, but you have uplink, downlink OFDMA, and you have BSS coloring. So I'm guessing it's related to the chips that they use.
It's interesting that you would get more 11AX features by going with the 9117.
Yeah, that's what I found. I thought the 9117 would be a higher end with more features, but I guess it might be related to the chips that they use and what they can support for now.
Yeah, and I also noticed that both APs support mGig. So if you're going to be pushing mGig switches here, the 9115 will support up to 2.5 gigs. The 9117 goes up to 5.
Yeah, and also be careful with the PoE budget, because I think for the 8-stream one, you're going to need BT, 802.3 BT. So I think that's something we have to be careful with. AX APs is, look at the power. Multi-gig, I think, is pretty much going to become the norm.
Yeah, you won't be able to just plug this AP into your existing infrastructure because you will need the Cisco UPOE full feature switch, if that's what you're using, Cisco switches. But yes, it needs, for now, off the datasheet, it looks like it requires 802.3 BT.
For the
9117.
Yeah, if you want the full features. So if you want the 8 stream and so on.
Yeah, if that matters to you.
Yeah.
It might matter for the management. They'll want to take advantage of everything.
So, I mean, if you're interested, you can go and browse the datasheet. They have everything over there. Just be careful with the fire rates. The IAP is not going to, do 5.8 gig or whatever they're advertising here. 5.3, sorry. But you can get all the details on the new Cisco access points. So I don't know exactly when they'll become available for us to play with. And this is the equivalent to the 1800 series. So I'm curious to see what will be the equivalent to 2800 or 3800 series.
And will the AP look the same too?
Probably going to have a new design, right? It's Wi-Fi 6. It has to be new.
It's going to have the 6 number on there, right?
Maybe. We'll see. So it's an interesting. It feels like Cisco is, other vendors have been releasing Wi-Fi 6 APs. So Cisco is catching up. I'm sure it's going to be a big deal at the Cisco Live this year. We're going to hear a lot about Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah, that's where I'm assuming we'll definitely hear about everything before Cisco Live, and then hear a lot about it and how it works. We'll probably get to hold a new Wi-Fi 6 AP at Cisco Live, and that's when everything comes out. So that's what we look forward to, and that's why we're having this episode.
Exactly.
But we do have one more piece of news, right? So WLPC Europe, Keith announced it's going to be in Prague.
Yeah.
I still have yet to attend a WLPC. Maybe this is the one to go to.
Yeah, this is your chance, man. So earlier this year, the Keith and Matthew sent out a survey to decide where to go this year, like which location to choose, and they had Tenerife in there, which is like a little island, a Spanish island off of Africa, and it's a very nice place, right? So Keith was saying that Tenerife was a slight winner in the survey, but they couldn't get hotels this close to the event, so it's probably going to be for next year. And so this year they're going back to Prague because I think it was a success last year. Prague is a beautiful city, and people liked it. So, and I think the hotel was very good. So they're just going back with a sure bet, which is nice. And I'm going to try my best to attend. So Roel, if you want to come along with me.
Yeah, I'm going to try. We'll see. I definitely would rather go to Prague than, say, Phoenix in the United States, but
yeah, so
we'll see how that works out for me.
Another trip to Europe. So
all right, so let's get into Cisco Live, because you and I are actually both attending this again this time, and last year was a great event, and so we wanted to share some of our Cisco Live tips and also some sessions to look forward to since the session list has been published. And I guess we'll start off with the tips first before we get into the sessions. And I did publish my own blog post on an attendee guide to Cisco Live in San Diego, because that's where it's going to be in 2019. So if you haven't registered yet, we'll include a link in the show notes. It's going to be, I think, a good event. San Diego's a great location, and it's good to get away from Vegas this time around. And San Diego, I used to live there over 10 years, so I know that place very well. So I at least want to provide some tips for you guys if you haven't attended before, or if you attended once before, you probably picked up on a few things that you should do differently. And well, the first thing is we'll probably have another podcast domain, right, Francois? So we'll do another recording, a live recording. I thought that was fun to do last year. We actually did a lot last year. I think maybe we should lower it to maybe just one.
You did even more than me because you recorded with Rob as well.
Yeah, and then I did one for the Cisco champions, and I think that's all I did was just recording episodes.
Practicing your podcast skills.
I was exhausted by the end of all of it.
I think the good thing from Cisco Live is we can get to interview, engineers from Cisco. So that was a good thing, right? Last year we had some pretty good guys from Cisco.
Yeah, we had some really good conversations with people from Cisco. A lot of really good, knowledgeable folks, very smart. So that's a good time to ask them very detailed questions about how the product works and what they see or envision it down the road. And it's going to be good for Wi-Fi 6 because then now we can actually get people to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so podcast would be nice. And then also we interviewed some attendees last year.
Yeah, we did a project where we interviewed a bunch of different people. Maybe we can continue doing something like that, something a little bit different.
Yeah,
we'll see how that one goes. I think that was fun to do and something different from just talking technical. We actually get to know more people in our industry and get closer to them because we all talk via Twitter, but we don't really meet in person that often.
Yeah, and these events are perfect for just, networking with the peers, exchanging ideas and just sometimes challenging ourselves on different use of technologies. And it's also a great event for everyone to just, talk and socialize.
Yeah, and with that said, that means there's going to be a lot of meetups. There's a lot of Cisco Champion meetups, Twitter meetups, where everyone who talks on Twitter will get together. Cisco also does like a tweet up photo, so they do that every year. And then meeting up with friends that we talk online with, but don't get to see. There's going to be a lot of those different kinds of meetups, especially after the sessions are done. There's going to be a lot of company-sponsored parties and events where you can get to know more people. So just be prepared for that. Tends to be a bit overload, but hey, it's good to get away from technical sessions and into something a little bit more relaxed.
You might find a Rasika to do a Rasika selfie. I'm going to make sure I go to the hairdresser so I get my nice haircut for the Rasika selfie.
Yeah, I got my first one last year. I remember that. So yeah, is he coming this year? Hopefully he is.
So. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think I remember he mentioned that. So yeah, get our selfie in there. The exam. So when you book your Cisco Live conference, you do get a free exam. I believe they're doing that still this year. The one thing I always tell people, especially first time attendees, is to book once they allow you to book your exam, book it as soon as possible because those slots fill up very quickly. And I highly recommend taking the exam as early as possible. So even on maybe a Sunday before the session start, because once you've gone through some sessions and then you have to go sit on an exam, sometimes your brain is just overloaded with so much information and you're tired. So I always tell people take it early, or if you have to take it in the middle of the week, take it in the morning. And a lot of times the line can get very long, so just be prepared for that.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I think I'm going to try to do mine on the Sunday before.
Yeah, that's I think the best time to take it because you're fresh. You're not exhausted from sitting on any sessions. And I know some people may want to take one of those. It's not a boot camp, but one of those sessions where they prepare you for the exam. I just say just be prepared prior to Cisco Live. So that way you don't have to prepare for the exam on the week of.
And also for the exam, you have to go in person view and register yourself.
Yes.
So just don't forget about that. When you register, it's in red everywhere on the webpage when you register. But just make sure you don't forget about that.
All right. And then bring walking shoes because this is going to be at the convention center downtown. And there's going to be a lot of events downtown. You're going to be walking across a long convention hall. You maybe even be walking from your hotel. And let's not even talk about hotel prices.
It's, oh my gosh.
San Diego is not an inexpensive location to book a hotel at.
Yeah, I was checking this week. I was like, oh my, what's going on in San Diego? Are they using US dollars? Or another currency?
It is surprisingly, yes, it is US dollars. It's not as inexpensive as Vegas, but I wanted to try to book a hotel right next to the conference center, but that was just way out of my budget. I think the Hilton, which is a tall hotel right next to the convention center, was going for $600 a night. The same with the Marriott and the Hyatt or whatever it is. So I'm like way off. I decided to go away from all the people and stayed near the Embarcadero, right where the ship is, the aircraft carrier.
All right. Yeah, I didn't book yet because I wasn't sure. I wanted to talk to you about.
You better book soon because it's booking up. Also, bring a jacket. I know it's summer. San Diego can get hot during the summer. I mean, it doesn't get really hot like Vegas hot, but when you're in the conference center, a lot of times they're just blasting the AC. Mm-hmm. So yeah, outside it'll be nice to wear a t-shirt and some shorts and sandals, but inside I sometimes just bring a light jacket just so I'm not freezing during a session.
And we spend most of the time inside anyway.
Yeah, so we'll be inside. Maybe during the World of Solutions, someone's handing out jackets and you can grab one there. The other thing I always recommend is to bring a portable battery pack because you'll be away from any kind of outlet for an extended amount of time. So if you're trying to, let's say, tweet about something or take pictures and video, your battery will die very quickly. Some of the sessions have outlets or power, the extenders, but if you don't get there early enough, you're sitting in the back and there's nothing but chairs back there. So bring a battery pack if you have one, or get a hold of one, and keep that in your bag. And
also, like, they usually have a table at the back where people will charge their laptops and tablets and stuff, but I don't know. I don't really trust that. It's like next to the exit door, like.
Yeah, don't do that. And also drink plenty of water. I know the previous Cisco Lives, especially in Vegas, I was very parched because I was walking everywhere. This time I'm bringing my own water bottle, a reusable water bottle. I use a hydro flask. I know some of you guys will be traveling through TSA, so just empty it out. You should be fine bringing that through, and then you could just refill that wherever you go.
And they also had last year they had the step contest.
Oh yeah, the steps. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to do that this year. But yeah, that definitely makes you walk even more if you're trying to win that contest.
Yeah.
So you'll be very thirsty.
You can win it. I'm telling you guys right now, because the Cisco employees have it too, and they're like working 16 hours, walking left and right. So there's no way. I tried last year. There's no way.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. I know.
They got a head start right on Saturday.
Yeah, you arrive on Monday and they already have like 20,000 steps. Like what?
And so after you've gone through a couple of sessions, you might need a Tylenol, because there's been some times where I've had a headache sitting through a couple of sessions because it was so much information that it was too much, right? So bring Tylenol. We talked earlier about booking your exams. Book your sessions once they're available, because some fill up and you'll be on a wait list. I already talked about the exam. Coffee. A lot of people like to get coffee in the morning, so they go to Starbucks. Don't stand in line. Actually download the Starbucks app, purchase it via your phone, skip the line, then just show up and pick it up while everyone's in line. In Vegas, that line was ridiculous. I'd also say leave some room in your luggage, because if you're planning on grabbing some swag at this conference, you're going to grab a ton. Hang out at each of the sessions and thank the presenter. I think that's a nice gesture to thank them for spending the time putting a presentation together, for talking to hundreds of people and sharing their knowledge. And also check out the DevNet Create session, where you can get hands-on with a lot of the DevNet Create, the cool little toys they actually put out there, and learn how they automate a bunch of things. And that's where I'll be for this year. So those are my tips. I'll publish those.
That's pretty good. I have so you've been to Cisco Live a few times now, Roel. Last year was my first time, so maybe I can share some insight for the first time attendees. First of all, the session. So last year, I was talking to you and you're like, oh, you should check, you should select your sessions. And I did it very late. And I was like, yeah, I have like 10 minutes. Let's select my sessions. And then you go on the website and you realize they have like 1,000 sessions. So, this year, I think they have 952 sessions. The nice thing about the website is that you can filter. They have like a search bar, so you can filter the sessions you want to attend. So I would just advise you guys to do that if you want to save some time on selecting the sessions, or you can filter the sessions on the left. They have different section types, tracks, and so on. So for me, this year I want to focus on Wi-Fi and 5G. So if I search for mobility, 5G, Wi-Fi, it pretty much filters out the sessions I want to attend. And what you can also do is, once you select a couple of sessions that you're interested in, you can also get the code and then filter with the code. And when you filter with the code, you will only get sessions related to that topic. And the code I'm talking about is the session code. Each session will have a code. And so the code for Wi-Fi, I guess, this year is we'll put it in the show notes for you guys. But BRKEWN. So if you filter with that, you will get all the Wi-Fi sessions. And then after that, each session starts with the number 1, 2, or 3. And this is just the level of complexity of the session, 3 being the highest level. So if you filter with BRKEWN-3, you will get all the hardcore Wi-Fi sessions. You only have 3 this year, but you can see it's like troubleshooting sessions like that. And then if you want the other sessions, you can filter with BRKEWN-2, and then you have all the other sessions.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing anyway, to save some time on selecting your sessions. That's if you're interested in Wi-Fi. I mean, if you're interested in something else, you're going to have to find the code for that as well.
Yeah, and it's relatively easy to find the code once you find one session that you're interested in. Why don't you go into some of the sessions you think are going to be interesting this year, Francois?
So yeah, I picked out a couple of sessions. It's just like you're not going to be able to do everything. You're going to have to choose at one point.
And some of them overlap on top of each other, so you got to pick a favorite.
You have to pick a favorite. Most people choose the presenter over the presentation when it comes to choose whichever you want to do. But anyway, yeah. So there's one called Optimize Your WLAN for Small and Mobile Devices, Phone, Tablets, and alike. This is going to be presented by Jerome Henry. I attended his session last year, and he's a very entertaining guy. So I'm looking forward to it. It's you get a lot out of it, and you get a good laugh as well. So
yeah.
And then there's one called Understanding RAN, Spectrum Coordination, and Cisco RF Feature. So this one is actually a level 3, and it's going to be presented by Jim Florick, which is like the RF guru at Cisco. So I'm looking forward to this guy as well. He's going to talk about, Cisco RM, things like AX and OBSS, channel deployment strategies for AX, 5G as well. So it's this one looks very interesting to me. There's also obviously they're going to be talking about the Cisco Catalyst line. So I'm also interested to know more about it. I've seen the video from Mobility Field Day last year, but I think it was Tech Field Day. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But I just want to know a little bit more about the capability of the platform. So they have a good feature on advanced troubleshooting with Catalyst 9800. If you want to know what the state of the controller is.
Well, speaking of the Catalyst 9800, they do have that session which introduces you to the Catalyst 9800 controller. Yeah. So if you haven't been able to play with that yet, this would be a good one to go into, because they'll go from, once you get it, to configuring it. They'll talk about high availability, the new patching, the way they do patching in 9800. Also, what you can do in regards to programming. How can you automate some of these tasks? Yeah. This is the new platform, so that's a good one. That's a good session to attend if you. That's where we're going with Cisco Wireless. So I think you guys should all attend that one.
So they have one on, like you said, introduction to Catalyx 9800 wireless controllers, and then advanced troubleshooting. So hopefully the advanced troubleshooting is after the introduction. So you kind of know what they're talking about. But usually, I guess last year I attended an advanced troubleshooting session, and it's usually it's hardcore. Like they put debug command lines, and then they tell you.
Those are my favorite sessions.
Yeah, and like even if you don't attend, just looking at the slide deck, you can get a whole bunch of information out of it.
Yeah, so if you haven't even attended Cisco Live before and this is your first time, you'll be able to download all of the sessions, all the presentations, and once Cisco Live is done, they will publish the videos as well on the website, so you can watch it.
That's awesome.
What other sessions? They talked about the optimizing WLANs. Go ahead, Francois.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say, DNS Center, whatever. So I think they can have a whole bunch of sessions as well, talking about how the new Catalyst wireless solution will integrate with DNA to handle security, to handle BYOD, to handle access, automation, programmability. So I think I'm going to try to attend a couple of these sessions. I think it's going to be a lot of redundant information, but just to know about what's possible. They had one with that they called Designing Your Wireless LAN for Threat Mitigation Policy and BYOD. This one I'm interested about. But they have plenty of others. They have one called Introduction to Next Generation Wireless Stack, where they talk about that as well.
Yeah. And also, speaking of security, they have a session on advancements in wireless security, which they'll go into WPA3, enhanced open. So that'll be interesting to see where they're going to support that. When are they going to implement this in their products?
So for the Wi-Fi part, I guess for me the interest would be AX, obviously. The new Catalyst platform and how it all works and integrate with the access point and with the DNS Center, and then what type of feature they have available to on their new platform. So I think that would be my main interest for Wi-Fi. I also have a lot of interest for 5G, so I'm going to be attending some 5G sessions as well. I did last year, and I got a lot out of it. We did also a podcast on 5G last year. I'm doing some research right now. I took a course in university on LTE and 3G, 2G, and so I have a little bit of a background. So I'm just trying to, because it's a lot of acronyms, kind of like Wi-Fi. So I'm trying to refresh my knowledge on cellular technologies, so I can kind of be ready for the 5G sessions. And hopefully I can get a better understanding of what's coming up on the cellular side as well.
Yeah, I think I might join you on some of those sessions just because I myself am not very familiar with 5G and what technologies are inside of 5G. So I think it'll be good to understand it, and then maybe we can also do another episode on 5G for wireless people. Like, what does that mean to them? Is this going to replace Wi-Fi? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That would be nice. Maybe try to do a little bit of a comparison between both technologies and understand better, what they will be doing in the future. Mm-hmm. That would be interesting. So they have a couple of sessions like voice over 5G, mobile packet core, 5G X-Hole transport, 5G mobile transport design and deployment, 5G technology updates. I didn't go through all the 5G sessions yet, so I'll see what I can do depending on the schedule, what I want to do, but I'm going to try to attend as much as I can on the 5G.
Cool.
So now that's my focus for this year, but I know, Roel, you have also a lot of interest in DevNet and all
Yeah, I didn't specifically list out any DevNet sessions because I have yet to even look at them. Last year, I did spend some time in a DevNet Create session, and at that point, I didn't have really any programming knowledge. But since I've been doing Python the last couple months and learning it, I think now is a good time to actually get hands-on and try to build something at the DevNet Create area. So I'll be there. I think that's in the World of Solutions area, just trying to test things out and further my knowledge in programming and scripting.
That's awesome. So I think last year we gave the tips to not schedule too many sessions because you still want to keep time to network with people. Personally,
and also that you should be able to attend our podcast domain too.
Exactly.
Our episode.
So we have that too, and then the Cisco Champions events that we attend. Personally, I'm going to try to schedule as many sessions as I can because I found that last year I also met some people in sessions that I've never met before, and then as you go from one session to another, you're going to see people following. So you're going to see who has the same interest as you, and then what I do is I tend to arrive early in the morning and then leave later at night so I can spend time before and after the sessions to talk with people. And
Cool.
then podcast domain is awesome because, it's kind of like a hub for the Cisco champions. And you can just hang out there and then see a lot of people.
Yeah. So that's our tips for Cisco Live, the sessions we look forward to seeing, the events that are happening. I'm sure there'll be more events. They haven't even outlined who the performer is, so there's that as well.
It's not you? I thought it was you.
Oh,
they didn't tell you?
No one's going to want to watch that. that might even draw down the number of attendees for next year.
All right.
But that's it. You have anything else to add, Francois?
Yeah, so what I was thinking of doing is maybe once we have our sessions scheduled, I don't think we can schedule them yet. We can just browse through the sessions. But once we have the ability to schedule them, maybe we can share our sessions to the listeners so they'll have an idea of what we will be attending. And if you guys want to meet up, we can also do that. Maybe we can organize something, meet up with the Clear listeners.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, so we'll definitely get something organized and planned out, and look forward to this event. And as updates come out, we'll talk about them, like Francois said, and we'll take it from there. And we look forward to seeing you guys. If you're attending, if you just hit us up on Twitter, that's the best way to reach us, and I'll definitely have some stickers to hand out.
Exactly. So if you want to get, if you want to read Roel's blog on Cisco Live, the attendee guide he wrote this year, you can go to the show notes cleartosend.net/163, and you'll also find the the link to the datasheet of the new Cisco AX APs and a couple of tweets we shared about 802.11be and WLPC EU.
Awesome. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We look forward to seeing you and hearing about what your tips are with Cisco Live and what you look forward to. So hit us up on Twitter @ClearToSend. Other than that, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.